rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, well, until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh,
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive after, because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray, perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is Home. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore.
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. He's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to get...
The music industry has a remarkable ability to turn unknown artists into massive stars almost overnight, only to push them out of the spotlight just as quickly. Petey Pablo experienced that reality in the early 2000s. He exploded onto the scene with successful hits and a distinctive personality that had audiences across the country throwing their shirts into the air and spinning them like helicopters. Yet almost as quickly as his career reached new heights, his presence began to disappear from the mainstream. Now Terrence Howard is taking another look at Petey Pablo's journey, suggesting that his disappearance may have been more complicated than a simple loss of popularity. According to Howard, Petey Pablo didn't merely drift away from fame. He was allegedly pushed to the side by an industry where staying quiet can be rewarded and refusing to conform can come at a price. His story may represent more than an ordinary career decline. It could serve as a warning about what can happen when an artist chooses not to play by the industry's unwritten rules.
I was being locked up for 6 years. I was a millionaire. And that was the craziest thing in the world. Like, I sat on the corner. The day we signed the deal, me and my partner Fab, I remember we had like $7 and like almost $8. And we bought us 240s, an old English 800. 2 egg rolls from a little Chinese spot, and it was raining. And we sat outside and we cried like motherfuckers, like babies, bro. I done it. Like it was hard at times. Again, I wanted to quit. I was already 20-something years old, and I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. I'm staying in New York. I'm the only thing, because I've never been a slouch, so the only thing that I know that I can do for the people that I'm staying with is make sure that they house clean and make sure that they dishes washed, and make sure if they needed something from the store, I would run to the store for them. But I was that dude before I went to prison. I was that. My money was straight. I was a big dog before I went. And so here I am now washing people's dishes and, sweeping their house up. And it was hard for a dude that was on a certain level in life, as a street guy, to have to humble himself to just survive. Because I refused. Sure, I had people in New York that wanted to hand me something. Hey, man, come on, man. We know who you are. Hey, man, we know your brother. We know that. Hey, man, we remember you from back. Hey, man, here, take this and get yourself. I'm not doing that. Because if I do something wrong, then all of this would have been for nothing. I came home from doing 6 years and left everything and everyone that I knew and I loved to go to a place in pursuit of my dream. I was determined to make this dream happen. And I can't get up here and do something stupid and mess around and get myself caught up in something. I'm already in New York. And anything can happen in New York. A lot of people went up there and they never come back.
Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo was about to sign with Death Row. You feel me? And that in the boat, and he said something. He put Suge's name in it. And Suge just walked through the door. It's like 30 It's Bloods and Crips. You could tell he was hating, and the tension was in that. I ain't with none of that Blood Crip, but I say Blood and Cuz in the same sentence. Nigga, I'm a real nigga, I'm an East Oakland nigga, so I can do that. The other can't. So the whole point is, you know, I ain't gonna disrespect you. If you're a Crip, I ain't gonna keep blooding you. If you're a Blood, I ain't gonna cuz you. That just ain't how I get out. You know, I'm gonna do the respect, right? But all my real though, you feel me? Most of them, that was real hitters. You feel me? At the same time, that Petey put the name, Suge name in the song. And hey, cut the music. That went into the booth and closed the curtain. Right? What's going on? About 3 minutes later, the curtain over. Session over. You mean session over? We just got here. Session was over. I don't know what that said to that, but I guess he didn't want that nigga to say his name in the song, period. Cut that whole session over. I ain't heard from Petey Pablo since.
Petey Pablo's journey towards success was anything but straightforward. After spending time in prison for a robbery conviction in the early 1990s, he worked hard to turn his life around and focused his energy on building a career in music. His major turning point came when he connected with legendary producer Timbaland. The two went on to create Raise Up, which became a major hit in 2001. It was more than simply a successful record. It developed into a powerful Southern anthem, with the famous chant asterisk, North Carolina, come on and raise up, asterisk asterisk ringing out at concerts, parties, and stadiums around the country. The track reached number 25 on the asterisk Billboard Hot 100, while Petey Pablo's debut album, Diary of a Sinner, first entry, received a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album and achieved gold certification, demonstrating that he had established himself as far more than a one-hit wonder.
When you say North Carolina, everybody want to raise up. It's like, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm still humbled because I'm such a hometown country boy that I don't feel, there's nothing bigger than the group, and Carolina is the group. So I don't feel like what everybody looks at me as, but it's just an amazing feeling.
Did you ever imagine it would be as big as it's gotten?
Never. All I wanted, and I was just inducted into the Carolina Music Hall of Fame.
Right.
So in my speech, I said, only thing I wanted was for a state that never had the recognition to be recognized. Because my label was like, Petey, we can't put this song out because don't nobody know what North Carolina is. And I'm like, well, this is all I'm giving you right now. So you got to work with what you got. So they was like, well, at least go back and put all the cities' names in there. So I'm like, okay, but this one was the one.
2 years later, in 2004, Petey dropped his sophomore album, Still Writing in My Diary, second entry, which featured his biggest hit to date.
2 years later, Petey Pablo made his return with asterisk Still Writing in My Diary. Second entry, an album that featured what would become his biggest commercial hit, Freak-a-Leak. The track quickly dominated clubs, radio stations, and the booming ringtone market, eventually climbing to number 7 on the asterisk Billboard Hot 100. All of a sudden, Petey Pablo seemed to be everywhere, making appearances on Bet and MTV, showing up at major award events, and working alongside artists such as Kira and Lil Jon. For a moment, everything appeared to be falling into place, and it looked like he was on track to become one of the most prominent stars to emerge from Southern hip-hop. But that rapid rise would soon face a major turning point, and the momentum surrounding his career would not continue for much longer.
That's the young people that is gonna come up. I bought Petey Pablo's Diary of a Sinner. Petey Pablo, I love him. My kids, Dad, who is this country dude? He's a rapper. North Carolina, raise up, put your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. That's my cut, man. I actually took my shirt off. I've been caught up in this dog. Then he got Diary of a Sinner. I love the song about when he was down to his, he thought he was dead broke. I had scraping up change in the ashtray, 2 cigarettes. He didn't know how he was gonna make it. That song, I listen to that to this day before I go to work, because it reminds me. Because it ain't always been this way. You know, you can't get this life. First of all, it's a blessing. This is grace and favor, you know. This ain't, your life ain't really supposed to be like this. I ain't really done nothing to deserve this. This is grace. This God just gave me a lot of grace, man. I really, on the real, On the real, I take no credit for where I am today. You know, I work hard, I'm funny, but this life I got, this crazy.
Despite putting out 2 successful albums and developing a dedicated fan base, P.D. Pablo's career eventually took an unexpected direction. After 2004, he seemed to largely disappear from the mainstream spotlight. The major hits became less frequent, high-profile collaborations were harder to find, and his appearances at major festivals and award shows became increasingly uncommon. Meanwhile, artists such as T.I., Young Jeezy, and Ludacris continued to dominate the southern hip-hop scene, while P.D. Pablo slowly slipped out of the public eye. So what actually happened? According to Terrence Howard, the answer wasn't a lack of ability or a series of bad career choices. Instead, he suggests that P.D. Pablo's decline began after he allegedly refused to conform to the expectations placed on him by the industry.
They accused him of fondling or touching someone at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
At a bar, and then they accused him of touching some dude.
It sounded like
Puffy's thing. I was like, dude,
I mean,
that's not Cuba. He wouldn't. I can't imagine
Really?
Cuba touching some man. No,
A man?
A man, yeah.
what is it, what is it with all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about? I mean, like with the Puffy parties. Like, the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff
Yeah, I
was
didn't-
wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck, where they would take, not to go in a bad place, but this is how I see what's happening, the parallels with what's happening correlates what's happening in the business. If they, back in the times of slavery, if they had like some 12-year-old slave that was just full of himself and confident and, wasn't listening, they would tie him to a log or a barrel, and a bunch of the overseers would them, to where when he walked around with the slaves now, he didn't have the confidence.
Sure.
He was broken, and it was called breaking the buck.
Wow.
And that's still taking place. And so to hear that people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally like, I'm gonna put it into the music. I'm gonna do it in the music, and I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you got a deal, perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And P.D. Pablo, you remember P.D. Pablo?
I know who that is.
P.D. Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for P.D. Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho It's On, they did not care. They went all in on it.
Terrence Howard has argued that artists who resist behind-the-scenes pressure within the entertainment business can sometimes find themselves pushed to the margins very quickly. In his view, P.D. Pablo challenged the system, refused to accept certain expectations, and may have ultimately suffered consequences for doing so. Howard suggests that P.D. went from being a promising rising star to being largely shut out of the industry in a surprisingly short period of time. Howard has also recalled a personal experience that he believes demonstrated P.D.'s character. In 2005, after Howard realized he had left his wallet behind at an event in Los Angeles, P.D. Pablo reportedly handed him $200 without hesitation. Howard says the gesture stayed with him for years. Later, while working on Empire, Howard remembered P.D. when the series needed someone to play an inmate, and he chose to give the rapper an opportunity to take on the role.
The whole Terrence story, that was a whole story within itself anyway, because the reason that I got that role on Empire was, like Cherry said, I'm just that guy. I just so happened to run into Terrence Howard in the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? That's Terrence, the Hustle and Flow. Oh, man, what's up? He's like, man, I listen to all your stuff. He was like, even when I was on Hustle and Flow, he was like, I listen to your music. You know, he said I was trying to act like Petey Pablo, and that's crazy to me.
You know,
And
you did.
so I said, hey man, we all going out. What's up? You want to come out? And he was like, nah, man, I'm going through a little something right now, man. I lost my wallet, lost my credit cards and everything, so I'm just going up to my room, man. So I was like, damn, you lost. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out 200. He was like, here.
That's it.
He was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, no, man, you just don't be walking around with nothing in your pocket. Like, here.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I gave him the money and I walked off. So fast forward, 13 years later, I get a phone call. And this was a couple years ago. He was like, is this Petey? I was like, yeah. He was like, first of all, I need you to see. He's like, this is Terrence Howard. I was like, damn, what's up, bro? I ain't heard from you, yeah. Last time, he was like, yeah, last time I seen you, yeah, something happened between us. And I need you to send me your address because I owe you some money. And I was like, nah, bro, you don't owe me no money. He was like, bro, send me your address or I'm going to hang the phone up and you'll never hear from me again. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my phone, my address. 2 days later, I get a check for $15,000.
Dang, what a great investment.
Crazy, right? Crazy. So I called him back and I was like, bro, he was like, listen, you do not realize that at that time, I didn't lose my wallet. He was like, I just said that because I was so embarrassed that I was going through what I was going through in life. And he was like, effortlessly, you just reached in your pocket and handed me money and didn't really even know me. You knew me from watching me on TV. You know, we had never had a conversation or anything. And he was like, and people that I've known for years had denied me at that point in time in his life. And he was like, and he was really in a bad place. He was like, for me to reach in my pocket and effortlessly just do an act of kindness that way, he was like, it changed his thought about life. And I was like, man, that's really crazy. He was like, now we got that out of the way. Now I need you to help me on this Empire situation.
Peter, what's next for you? We saw you on the set of Empire. Saw you doing your thing on Empire. Are you going back to the set? But you said you got to go to LA first, actually.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm still writing music for the show, and Terrence is my brother. You know, and that's another thing. Again, I don't want to speak too much about it because, you know, when I get uneasy feelings about certain situations, you know, sometimes my mouth will put me in situations where I'll be walking around looking like I have lost everything in the world. Like, what did I just say? I did not just say that publicly, but I will, you know, and really don't mind it. But I mean, I understand that there are dire consequences behind some of the things that I say. But Terrence Howard is my brother, and there's nothing that man cannot ask me to do besides some of that stuff they do on TV. No, but that's my brother, man. And you know, whatever I can do to help him and the show, man, I mean, I'm always there, and you know.
That connection landed Pablo a small role on Empire, where he played an inmate alongside Howard's character, Lucius Lyon.
That relationship eventually led to Petey Pablo landing a small role on Empire *, where he appeared alongside Terrence Howard's character, Lucius Lyon. He also contributed the song *** Snitch, which was featured in the series and briefly placed him back in the public spotlight. However, it was never the major comeback many people might have expected. Instead, Howard described the opportunity as a way of returning the favor to someone he respected and remembered fondly. Even with the additional exposure, Petey's career never recovered the level of momentum it had once enjoyed. Then in 2010, he made national headlines after being arrested at Raleigh-Durham International Airport for allegedly attempting to board a flight while carrying a loaded firearm. He eventually spent nearly 3 years in federal prison. To many observers, the incident looked like another major setback caused by his own actions. Yet supporters point out that other rappers, including T.I., Lil Wayne, and Meek Mill, also served prison sentences and later returned to significant success, raising questions about why Petey Pablo's career failed to rebound in a similar way.
Pablo, let me just say something right quick. Hip-hop, anybody who got a respect for hip-hop, you listen to your right now. Suge, y'all got to respect what Suge done did for the game, okay? Regardless of the negativity that the media has portrayed, that man is hip-hop history. You understand what I'm saying? That man is hip-hop history. With on and cracking that man was in the media without negativity, y'all was all on his. Then as soon as the white man or whoever come in and try to say what the man that did wrong, who he was involved with, I want to let him go. Stop doing that to people in the industry. Judge them off your own married. Don't let no other rapper say something about one rapper and you take from that one. You understand what I'm saying? Stick with it. Be a true fan. Don't be no whole fan. You know what I'm saying? If you dedicated, be dedicated. If not, we don't need you because gonna eat anyway.
Eat anyway.
Anyway. You understand what I'm saying? It's new in the system. Where you at, Remy? Where you at, Jay? Where you at, Jay? It's new in the system. Ain't nobody just trying to shake their in the videos no more. We about to get money. It's about network and communication. You understand what I'm saying?
For P.D. Pablo, though, there was never a true return to the level of success he once enjoyed. His prison sentence became a major turning point, and his career was never able to completely recover from it. Some believe his legal problems ultimately destroyed the momentum he had built during his rise, while others suggest that he had already lost valuable support within the industry years before his arrest. From that perspective, the absence of powerful record label backing and influential industry connections may have made his return even more difficult. What could have been a temporary interruption instead became a prolonged disappearance from the mainstream music scene, leaving P.D. Pablo's once promising career far from where many believed it was headed.
Imagine I'm watching P.D. Pablo in his car, and my brother, Big Spider, in his passenger seat doing this. And P.D. Pablo let me unscrew his earring. Rest in peace, Del Dog from Main Street. If it wasn't for Del Dog pulling up, not demanding, but really politicking, pleading, begging my brother, because he had interest with P.D. Pablo that he needed P.D. Pablo to feel like, I'm safe with you, I was here with you. So Del Dog really pleaded to my brother to give him that pass, which was a very hard pass for my brother to get. But I just seen P.D. Pablo sit there and allow a nigga to screw his earrings out and didn't do nothing.
Damn.
Am I lying, P.D. Pablo?
Man, Suge just pretended like he wasn't around or didn't, because wasn't P.D. Pablo actually signed to Death Row at one point or was gonna sign?
This is the thing. With Suge, it had nothing to do with P.D. Pablo. It had everything to do with when he got with us. My brother, M.O., his whole interest, his approach was to ask Suge permission. Is it okay for me to get down like that around here while we're moving around? And just before it was even a P.D. Pablo to think about, and my brother getting that Suge like that, when nobody in particular was the person we're talking about, Suge kind of gave him the green light and let him know, I know how you get down, and when we moving, that's in the game too. You know, just don't be messy, cross nobody up, implicate nothing. Suge ain't robbing nobody, he ain't got nothing to do with it, but he was trying to let my brother know, I know how you get down, and when shit go down, if it go down, don't feel like I think you offending me or, backdoing. Green light, just keep it clean as far as don't have me crossed up. That was just the understanding. And P.D. Pablo just somebody else, so that was just the understanding. Suge wasn't gonna let P.D. Pablo feel like, oh, you watch me get robbed. Nah. Suge still gonna have a position with P.D. Pablo like I'm at least try to see what I can do. And Suge was cool enough to where he might negotiate a few coins about a P.D. Pablo on our behalf for him to get them earrings back. It was that type of understanding. You feel me? So I'm just letting you know it's nothing new for that type of thing going down. Like P.D. Pablo, yeah, he was sitting there real comfortable, calm, letting him do his earring.
Terrence Howard has continued to speak publicly about what he sees as the more troubling side of fame and success. He is certainly not the only figure to raise such concerns. Artists and personalities including Jaguar Wright, Orlando Brown, and Kanye West have also made controversial statements about powerful influences and hidden dynamics within the entertainment business. Howard believes that achieving success can sometimes involve enormous pressure to compromise personal beliefs or values. Whether these claims are accurate remains a matter of debate, but they have continued to generate discussion across social media and among fans. When looking back at artists such as P.D. Pablo, some supporters still question how careers that once seemed nearly unstoppable could lose momentum so suddenly. From rising rappers connected to major industry figures like Diddy, Jay-Z, and Birdman, a number of promising careers eventually faded from the spotlight, leaving audiences to wonder what may have been happening behind the scenes.
Go back and watch the Math Hoffa interview. I kind of broke it down, and Math was trying to get me to say the names and really say names. I'm like, I ain't gotta do that because I don't want to f brothers' lives up like that. Yeah. But I'll say this: the music business is ran by the devil. So the music business is only designed to get as many people to go away from God as possible. So what happens is the devil needs workers, and by workers, he needs people who have influence, who can mislead or misguide people away from the light into the darkness.
So I was that kid out there, and they were great friends. They embraced me, man. And my whole crowd was always black. I never thought I'd ever play for white people until my music went #1. And when it went #1, all of a sudden my crowds I went from smaller crowds to huge stadiums. And rap music, it just hadn't been done like that before. So for me, I was just like, whoa.
Consider Shine, for instance. The Belize-born rapper was being positioned as one of Bad Boy Records' next major stars during the late 1990s. With a platinum-selling debut album and rapidly growing attention throughout the industry, his future seemed extremely bright until the infamous 1999 nightclub shooting involving Diddy and Jennifer Lopez. Shine was eventually convicted and went on to spend nearly a decade behind bars. By the time he was released, however, the music landscape had changed dramatically, and much of the industry had already moved forward without him. His career never regained the momentum it once possessed. His case continues to generate debate, with some people arguing that he may have taken responsibility to shield more influential figures, while others firmly reject that interpretation and maintain that the available facts do not support it.
When we were on our way to court, I knew that they were setting Shine up to take the fall. When Shine decided to get his own lawyers, I knew that they was gonna set Shine up to take the fall. These guys in the industry want to act like that they didn't know that Puff helped send Shine to jail.
Then there is G-Dep, another former bad boy artist whose career once appeared full of potential. During the early 2000s, he scored a major success with Asterisk's Special Delivery, Asterisk establishing himself as one of hip-hop's notable rising names. Years later, however, he shocked the music world when he voluntarily confessed to a fatal shooting that had taken place in 1993 and remained unsolved for years. He was eventually sentenced to prison, effectively bringing his recording career to an abrupt end. His story left many fans questioning why several artists associated with Bad Boy seemed to experience such dramatic and painful turns in their careers, while Diddy continued to maintain a central position within the music industry's success and influence.
Right, so pretty much the whole time you was in prison, he didn't reach out to you?
Yeah, you know? Yeah, man. Shout out to him too, man.
Yeah, I mean, he going through a lot right now. How you feel about everything Diddy going through right now? Like his houses getting ready for trafficking. How you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I feel like, whatever's going on, he need, he's gonna handle it. However, whatever happens, whatever transpires, you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, man, I don't know what happened. I don't even know what's going on. You know where I was at. You know what I mean? So, I hope the brother get around it, man. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on.
The easy person to blame is Diddy because everybody blame him for stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's dope, man. For you to be like, yo, I did this or I did that,
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's real, man. I mean, you can't run around. I don't know, man. I don't really subscribe to that though. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You gotta look at what's really going on, a lot of times, I don't know if that's something that I developed and, I don't know when that developed, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the truth is, the truth is just important, like, you know what I mean? At some point in my life, I realized that, truth is just, and genuineness is important, and that kind of, trickles out into, anything you really can do. Like, be truthful. Why do you think you got dropped? You know what I'm saying? It's all about truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why do you think, come on, honestly. You know what I mean? Don't fool yourself. You're only lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, you know what I mean?